All right, let's dive into a theory from our source material that tries to connect some of the world's greatest mysteries with one single, kind of mind-blowing explanation. It suggests that behind everything we see, there's a hidden design and a pretty serious warning. So, just keep this question in the back of your mind as we go. What if a cursed tomb in Egypt and a deadly patch of ocean weren't two different puzzles, but actually two pieces of the exact same, much bigger picture? To even begin to understand this, we have to start with the main idea from our source material, this concept of a universal controller. So get this, the source kicks things off with a huge premise, that our lives, and yeah, everything else in the universe, aren't just random. Nope. Instead, they're following a path that's been pre-arranged by some vast supernatural intelligence, a creator. This one idea is the key to, well, everything that comes next. Okay, that's a massive claim, right? So how does the source even start to back it up? Well, it takes us to the Valley of the Kings in Egypt and to the infamous, deadly curse of King Tutankhamun. When archaeologists first broke into that tomb, this is the chilling message they supposedly found. I mean, it's a pretty clear warning, right? But was it just some empty threat from long ago? According to the source, that curse didn't waste any time. Just a few months after opening the tomb, the guy who paid for the whole thing, Lord Carnarvon, died from a simple bug bite, shouting that he heard someone calling him. Not long after, his brother took his own life. An assistant on the team just dropped dead. Even the lead archaeologist's family wasn't safe. The source says his daughter killed herself because she believed she couldn't escape the pharaoh's anger. And it didn't stop there. The source details this web of death that just kept spreading. Carnarvon's nurse, a couple of rich tourists who just visited the site, even the technician who x-rayed the mummy, all dead. And maybe the wildest part, a skeptical museum director who publicly laughed off the curse died of a heart attack just 1 month later. Look, this wasn't just a handful of unlucky coincidences. The source actually counts more than 40 archaeologists alone whose sudden, kind of bizarre deaths were all tied back to that tomb. The sheer number is just staggering. And if you think that's wild, the source presents an even earlier case that's eerily similar. Around 1900, another coffin was discovered, and this one had a warning about being swallowed by seawater. After the people who dug it up started dying off, the coffin was eventually put on a ship headed to America in 1912. That ship was the Titanic. And yeah, both the ship and the coffin were swallowed by the sea, just like the prophecy said. So we've gone from a cursed object getting swallowed by the sea to a huge chunk of the ocean that seems to do the swallowing itself. Let's head into our second case study, the Bermuda Triangle. So for anyone who's not familiar, the Bermuda Triangle, or the Devil's Triangle, is this infamous stretch of the Atlantic where tons of ships and planes have just vanished. It's a place where, according to the legends, the normal rules just don't seem to apply. The source hits you with one chilling story after another. Take the Rosalie. It was found just floating out there, totally fine, sails up, cargo untouched, but there wasn't a single person on board. The entire crew had just disappeared. And then there's the famous one, Flight 19. You've got 5 U.S. Navy bombers on a routine flight. Suddenly, they're lost. Their compasses are spinning wildly. They vanish. And then the rescue plane sent to go find them also disappears without a trace. And the sheer scale here is just mind-boggling. The USS Cyclops, this enormous Navy ship over 500 feet long with 309 sailors, vanished in 1918. It never even sent out an SOS. It was just gone. But it's not just about disappearances. The source also lists all this other weird stuff. I'm talking Christopher Columbus himself writing about strange weather and his compasses going haywire. More recently, people have reported seeing huge, fast-moving objects under the water. A pilot watched forks and knives bend on their own in his plane. Oh, and they apparently found a pyramid on the seafloor bigger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. Okay, so you've got this deadly ancient curse, right? And then you have this modern-day oceanic graveyard. These seem totally unrelated, but this is where the source material drops its biggest bombshell and pulls it all together. So let's just ask the question, what one single explanation could possibly connect both of these legendary mysteries? All right, here's the theory. The source lays out this secret history of Earth. It says 2 billion years ago, beings it calls angels arrived. They built these life manufacturing laboratories, which were the original pyramids, back when this was all dry land. After about 500 million years, their work was done. So to hide these labs, the creators sank the land, and that's how we got our oceans. And that right there, that's the whole key. According to this theory, the curses, the disappearances, none of it is an accident. It's all part of a powerful, ancient security system designed to keep humanity away from these hidden laboratories. And this brings us to the final and maybe the most important message in the entire source material. It's not just a cool theory, it's a warning. The text delivers this really sharp warning. It basically says our hunt for answers is like peeping into the secrets of others, and calls it a dangerous and foolish thing that only leads to trouble. Essentially, the argument is that we as a species just aren't ready to handle the truth about where we came from. From this point of view, our endless curiosity isn't our greatest strength. It's actually a fatal flaw that's leading us down a very deadly path. And so, the source leaves us with this one last, pretty provocative thought. In our relentless quest for knowledge, are there some doors that we were never, ever supposed to open? Are some secrets actually meant to be kept forever?